Recovery. Noun. The active instance of recovering, the process of being recovered. That's not very helpful. Recovery. Verb. To regain possession, return to health or normal state, make up for loss. That sounds much better. Recovery as a verb requires action and movement. Sometimes movement is forward, sometimes backwards, but at no point is there ever a standstill. Baby steps. I can't count on my hands the amount of times I've been told to just take baby steps, because whenever you're in recovery, the smallest things feel unreal, and baby steps can get you so far. It all started when I was 4 years old. I wanted to be a ballerina, but the amount of anxiety I had made me too overwhelmed. I cut off all of my curls to get out of going to recital. My life was good. I was a happy child. My family was happy. We had a good life. No one would have expected anything from the quiet little girl. When I look back at pictures of my childhood, I wouldn't have expected my adolescent years to be as hard as they are. At 6 years old, my mom had a miscarriage. I was young and didn't fully understand, but I thought it was my fault. I threw a tantrum and kicked my mom in the stomach, so I had to have done it. I blamed myself every day and started to scratch myself with pencils and other things that were sharp. I grew up blaming myself. At 8 years old, I tried to overdose. I didn't know much about killing myself, so I took a bottle of bubblegum-flavored medicine, and nothing happened. I didn't tell anyone, so no one found out. I was continuously depressed, but I hid it well. From 9 to 12, I continued to self-harm. My friend Jenna committed suicide when I was 12. I hit an all-time low. I found you could self-harm with razors and got worse. And my parents were going through a divorce, and my stepdad was moving in, so it was already tough enough. My school found out and told my mom. She took me to the STAR program. I went once and they told me they no longer needed to see me because I said it was fine. If you say you're fine, right? Wrong. I continued to self-harm for 2 years. At 14, I tried to kill myself again. This time, my mom found out. She took me to the hospital and I was admitted to Du Bois Hospital for a week. It was my first hospital stay, so I was petrified. I met one of my best friends there, though. After being discharged, life seemed like it was going to be okay. I stopped self-harming for quite a while. Then, September 21st, 2015, my best friend Damien died from what they believed to be a heart attack. I started to self-harm again. October started out okay, then Maggie jumped off the bridge. I lost my best friend. I blamed myself. I started to become more depressed and couldn't leave my bed. I was basically bedridden. I slept most of my life away and didn't care what happened to me at this point. I started going to parties and getting drunk, so that I could forget everything. I was drunk and thought everything was okay. A guy and I started to play hide and seek. Him and I snuck into the treehouse to hide. He told me to be quiet and be a good girl. So I did. He slammed me to the floor, ripped my pants off, and took advantage of my body as I laid on the cold hard floor. I blamed myself. I deserved it. I shouldn't have drank. I shouldn't have partied. It was my fault. I had to live with the fact that I was raped and couldn't tell anyone. I tried to choke myself in the treehouse because I couldn't live with what happened. I didn't tell anyone, so no one knew. November 2016, my friend from work Glenn died in a car accident. I was absolutely heartbroken. I started to isolate myself in my room because I was afraid of getting close to anyone in fear of losing them. I continued to self-harm for a few months. March 2016, I threatened to kill myself, so my mom admitted me to Belmont Pines Hospital in Ohio. It was torture. No one helped me there. I starved myself the entire time I was there. And no one watched you there, so don't go there. I cried at the thought of even drinking a single ounce of water, let alone even one meal. I got out of there and started eating disorder partial from the end of March into April. I hated it there. They forced you to eat every piece of food on your plate. I cried every ounce I gained. I hated recovery. I hated being forced to eat food and keep it down. I truly wanted to die. At the end of April, I tried to overdose on 180 diet pills. My mom found out and called partial. They sent me to Western Psych. My first day was terrifying. After 12 hours, I was on the deck. I went from 12 hours on the deck to walking down a terrifying hallway to a group of kids waiting. For the first day, I was terrified. But after the first day, I was okay. I was about to be discharged, and I had a panic attack in the bathroom because I knew I was going to be unsafe, so they didn't send me home. I wrote my journal about trying to kill myself, and they took all my stuff. Then I took scissors from the classroom. That was the start to everything bad ever happening. That was the first time I was ever restrained. They held me down as I fought over the scissors and reminded me of the rape again. I was traumatized. I wanted to die. Life sort of got worse from that point. I started stealing bottle caps and tying stuff around my neck. After 40 days in the hospital, they discharged me, but I wasn't okay. I was home for 3 days and I tried to overdose again. No one understood me. I was sad, I was afraid, and they sent me to Presby. I spent a week on Presby on CO, where everyone had to watch me pee, and it was awful. It was torture. But then they sent me back to Western Psych. I was worse this day. I wanted to die so much. I spent most days crying in seclusion. I didn't want to be here. I didn't deserve to be here. I wanted no part of recovery, and that was the hardest part for me. I fell apart. Recovery was forced on me. I hated my life here. I wanted to leave. I decided to pretend to be okay so I could go home, and the doctors believed me. Staff looked at me and told me, "You've been doing so good." But they didn't know I was pretending. Then I got worse. My mom of the week, Carrie, died in a car accident. I broke down and cried nonstop. I couldn't go on. I lost one of the only people who kept me going. I didn't know what to do, so I pretended to be okay so I could go home and kill myself. Again. Eventually, after 40 days, I went home. All my stays were 40 days. So, maybe I should play the lottery. I was home for 5 days. I sort of enjoyed some parts of life. I went to the movies, hung out with friends, tanned, but then I remembered everything I wanted away from. I self-harmed with an overdose on insulin and Celexa. I spent 4 days in Presby with my sugar dropping every other hour. Then they sent me back to Western Psych for the 3rd time. This time, I didn't care what happened to me. I wasn't back for even 20 minutes before I tied a sock around my neck. I pleaded to them to let me die. No one would let me. They sent me to seclusion again. It became every day. Truth is, I didn't want to recover. I was so used to being sad. I knew the skills, but I never used them. I tried to kill myself every single day, multiple times a day. I was in seclusion, which is the locked room, locked more than once a day. They put me on so many restrictions. I wasn't allowed towels when I showered. I wasn't allowed in the back hallway. I wasn't allowed socks, long sleeves, or pants. I was forced to wear shorts. I had a safety blanket, and eventually I was put on CO in my room. I hated everything about the hospital, but I didn't stop trying to hurt myself. I didn't care at all. So many nurses had to cut my clothes off to me while safety restrained me just so I wouldn't hurt myself. It was every day. Everyone was sick of me, including myself. Then after almost 40 days in the hospital, something clicked. I woke up one day and told myself I was going to get better. I was tired of being sad, so I utilized the skills. I worked my ass off. I talked to staff when I was sad and found ways other than trying stuff around my neck to cope. Then one day, it happened. I was okay. I found reasons to live. I found out things about myself I never would have thought or believed. I deserved to live and even deserved recovery. I worked nonstop and I found myself. I started helping other people. I'm happy. Even though that's crazy to say, after so long I can finally say recovery is possible. It takes work. Oh gosh, does it take work. But it can and will happen. You just have to ride the process. Learn the skills, reach out, take it day by day. Remember that you're not alone. Find your reasons to live. I promise you in the end it is all worth it. I never ever thought I would see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I made it. I can finally say I did it. After all this time, I know life will be okay. There may be bumps in the road, but I know what to do, and I know how to reach out, and I can and I will. So that's my recovery story. My crazy, wild, bumpy story. I never thought I'd be able to say I made it, but here I am. And I feel like this video really went nowhere, but the moral of my story is it takes time. It took me April, May, June, July, August, September. 6 months before I could finally say I was okay. And I know recovery is so scary, but you deserve it and you can do it. And I'm here if anyone ever needs to talk or needs anyone to listen. And I'm really bad at talking like this, but it does get better and it will get better, and I'm proof that recovery is possible. You just have to reach out. Find a parent, find an adult that you trust, a teacher, a counselor, anyone, and reach out because help is out there and it helps so much. Just allow yourself to learn the skills, learn the process, learn that recovery is possible because I know you can do it. And that's my recovery story. And I'm here if you ever need to talk because life does get better.